Welcome to Detours, Understanding Acquired Brain Injury. And with us, we have Joyce again. She's joining us. She is knowledgeable survivor on issues of aneurysms, strokes, TIAs, that kind of thing. And she's going to be sharing with us something useful, something helpful. And I'm just going to turn it over to her. I'm going to listen and just introduce yourself and all that good stuff.
Thank you, Mark. Currently, I'm in a wheelchair, and I want to walk again. So temporarily, in that situation, but everything happened to me when I had a stroke. All this list of things I couldn't review happened to me. So listen up. I use stroke survivors and stroke patients interchangeably because sometimes people treat me like I'm a patient instead of a survivor. So, okay. First, I want to tell you that I'm going to read a list of things. And I asked Mark if he has comments after each one. Okay. The first one is saying good girl, good boy, good job. It makes me feel like a pet. And Mark, you agree?
That's weird is what that is. It's like, look, if you're 5, maybe. If you have an IQ higher than 5, no.
Yeah.
So no. I mean, I've never been told that. People know I probably would go crazy on anyone who said that.
Oh yeah. I did go crazy. I did.
Unfortunately, I got to be honest with you. Like, if you're in a nursing home or something like that, I have heard that occasionally, and it's because I guess there's this notion that if you're in a nursing home, you're totally demented anyway, and and so that is more of a particular problem. It's like in a hospital that would never fly, at least not in an acute care hospital like in the ED or like, but although there are some people who need a dose of reality checking, but in the nursing homes and stuff, yeah, I've heard that. And as a medic and stuff, it's like we do try to say sir, ma'am, with respect, although some caution there. Some people,
it's condescending to say that.
Well, good boy, good, good job. Like sir, ma'am is kind of sticky. In the South, that's just plain old good manners. Here in the North, you have to be cautious. Now, if you're like in a military kind of organization, sir or ma'am is appropriate. We had ranks and everything else, officers and all that stuff. But with sir, ma'am, you got to be kind of cautious. But good boy, go. Jeez, no way. That is a no-go.
Second one, talking loudly. If you talk loudly to foreigners, the habit is to talk loudly to foreigners. Nothing gets solved. Don't have to talk loudly, and that's a hearing problem. But as a stroke patient, it's absurd to talk loudly to a stroke patient. I mean, what are you doing? Like that. And it's absurd.
I speak German as my second language, Deutschsprache, und kann auch schreiben und lesen.
Okay.
I can speak, read, or write German. Not great. It's enough to go to the bathroom and take care. And it's probably like a 5th grade level, 6th grade level. The thing is, I read, write it, and maybe a little more than that. But the thing is, yelling at somebody who speaks another language is kind of weird. Again, it's like, how does yelling louder? Hey, what do you want for dinner? But where do you want to go? That doesn't make sense either. But here's the thing: it's like I do understand, like if you're panicking, stop, wait, you want to get their attention and maybe stop them from doing what they're doing. But if you're communicating with somebody whose hearing is fine, it's not going to help them understand better. it means you haven't secured the area, stuff like that. Now, if you're panicking, family, whatever, you're panicking, okay, yeah, I can understand, shouting, whatever, trying to get attention, but it's still not going to help. So, no, it is not a good tactic to either yell at foreigners or yell at people whose hearing is fine,
I
and
have
if your
another
hearing
one.
doesn't work, if your hearing
I have
doesn't work,
another one. Third one, talking slowly, like, how are you today? How are you today? It's not going to get the point across.
some people who have processing deficits and thinking problems, they do need you to slow down, just not that slow, but
Yep, yep.
maybe you should talk a little slower if they have thinking, because there are differences between stroke patients and brain injury patients with processing deficits. And
Yep,
now,
yep.
if you're a person who talks like me, who talks with their hands and talks about 1,000,000 miles an hour, maybe it's a little too fast for you in order for you to make processing sense of it, because then you might become overloaded and you're not able to understand a word that I'm saying. So maybe,
I understood you.
great,
Okay.
you're a writer. But there are a lot of people who would become, they get bowled over by a wall of words. And it's like, you know what? Talking slower can help. So that's another one of those. It's like there's nuance. It's more complicated than that, people. Those of you who know my lines. Yeah.
Yep, yep.
So, but yeah, don't talk like
Yes.
in slow motion. In
A
other words,
fourth one
treat
is,
people like you want to be
oh,
treated.
oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, of course. Fourth one is, don't make faces at me. People have switched their nose at me, switched their mouth at me, their nose at me. I get it. You're working for the forebrain, so don't waste it. Talk regular. Talk regular. I really feel regular. Some of you don't allow me. What do you have to say about that, Mark?
Don't make faces. What are you talking about? What have they done? I'm not quite.
Oh, me. So like faces at me, like a regular nose, like a concentrating. I talk. Even though I have aphasia, you can understand me.
Yeah,
So I want to be understood. So
right.
after myself, ask me to repeat myself,
Yeah.
or but so my faces at me.
Okay. Yeah, the respectful thing is, and if you don't understand, just ask to repeat. Again, some of those things are reflexive. Um,
Oh,
I get asked to repeat myself. Sometimes they're like, "What the hell is that word you just used?" Like, medicalese, or if I'm kind of like falling apart at night when my symptoms get bad, I'm just like gibberish will come out, or I can't find the right words. I'm thinking, this is for brain injury patients. Jenny's talked about this. Kimmy, Lisa, Kate, all of us have said that, eventually at some point, it's like, sometimes junk comes out because we're just like, exhausted. And so it's like, be respectful. Just say, hey, can you repeat that? Our IQ is fine. It is our ability to manage and organize. Or the
that's right.
majority,
That's
the
right.
majority of us are actually quite intelligent. Some of us really so. It's just give us the time to figure out. Patience. If you don't have time at the moment, come back when you do. Be
Exactly.
respectful.
First one is talking over me. I hate that. I'm going to say a sentence. I said, I say, I think you're, what was the word? I think you're patient. That's the word, patient. So
Client,
don't talk
client,
to me.
client.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. I apologize. Oh, survivor, family member, any of those would work. What are you getting at? Are you saying if they like ignore you, like you're not there,
No, no,
talk around you? Oh yeah,
talk
that's
over me.
freaking rude.
Talk over me.
Yeah, that's freaking rude.
Yeah.
I'm
Completing my,
still there.
oh,
Hello. Yeah. No, when I shortly after I was hurt, that happened a lot. You know,
oh,
even
yeah,
with
yeah, yeah.
even with family, you don't talk about me if I'm right there. Ask me, and if you can't ask me if it's like something like about my treatment or whatever, Because some people are hurt very, very badly. They're neurologically incredibly impaired. You know, it's like, then do that elsewhere, at least out of a sign of respect. Even if I don't get it, even if I'm not going to understand, you don't do it while I'm there. I'm not dead. Okay. Um, I still deserve human dignity,
Yep, yep.
please. And
And
again,
so
this is a bigger problem for elders, that when people talk like they're not even there. Now, I apologize for interrupting if I don't
oh,
say
no, no,
something.
no. No,
Yeah,
no.
but
I like your
we
input.
all do that. That's
Six
a
one.
brain injury thing, and I'm sorry.
No, no. Don't apologize. Don't apologize. The second one is completing my like say I want to compliment you on your on your I want to compliment you on your what is the word my asking I want to think of a word so complete my sentence.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Don't help me finish the sentence. If I need assistance, I will ask you. That happens to me too. Again, later as the day goes, when I go down, it's like if I say a lot of ums and uhs, it's like I'm trying to find those words, grabbing out there. And everyone's brain, almost everyone I've ever encountered has brain injury, has some anomia, anomic dysphagia, dysphagia, aphasia, depending on whether you can't at all or whether you're just slower and have trouble. Again, everybody on this channel has some degree of aphasia, whether it's a full blown, like Broca's aphasia, Wernicke's aphasia, transcortical motor, transcortical sensory, you global aphasia, you pick the aphasia, you know, there's a good name for it. But then there's some of us who have milder dysphagia or, you know, it's like that kind of thing. Or, you know, but don't finish our bloody sentences. Totally agree with you. Thank you. Just give us time. And if you don't have the time, again, come back when you do, please. And at home, this is a big one also. If I'm going, the thing, I'll only get better if you give me the time to work on it, practice it. Don't say, "Oh, I'll get you this ice cream scooper." This happened to a friend of mine who was working on hers. Her partner, out of love, did try to help her, but it's like the only way to improve here is by letting us practice and do. Well,
Thank you for that. Don't give me a list of 5 things or more to do. My brain is good, but parts of it are dead, never come back. So, do you ever hear of heavy drinkers and their brain cells can't be replaced?
what?
Heavy drinkers, brain cells can't be replaced. Same with me. Stroke survivors their brain can be replaced and the cells die.
For any kind of acquired brain injury, your brain cells do not generate. You lose the centrioles in the nucleus.
Yep.
And that is the reason they cannot go through standard mitosis. Now, you replace about 18,000. They're the more juvenile variety of neurons. They typically migrate to the hippocampus, which is why the hippocampus is able to function for long-term memory storage. However, 18,000 is nowhere near enough to replace what is typically lost to pathological processes as well as due to, you know, trauma and the other processes. It's enough to help you maintain. But in the long term, our brains do decline over time due to natural aging. You have seen my MRI video where I explained some of the pathological changes in Nietzsche's rocking chair video, which dealing with dementia as well as traumatic and acquired brain injury. Enough of that nerd alert. You know.
Okay. Ignoring me is I'm invisible. I talk to people, even now, I talk to people directly, like I talk to you, and then their eyes shift to the hey or the friend automatically.
Oh,
Oh my God. That kills me. That kills me. I hate that. Do you ever have that happen to you?
I've had it happen a couple of times when it's like, you know, if it's Stacy and myself, you know, sometimes, but usually I'm a big mouth. So, I'm not as you seem like you're a little more retiring a little bit. I'm a loudmouth. So usually, and I will step up and it's like, excuse me, this is what I need. This is what, and people who have, an easier time with words usually can, I forgive me. I can also be a little bit of an asshole too. And so, I tend to push a little more verbally aggressively. So I get less of that, and this is a problem that women get. They get pushed around, disregarded, ignored, unseen. And if they have a neuro disability, even women in professional positions, and this is a serious problem. I've seen it at the hospital where I work and others with disabilities, and they tend to get like, and they'll go like with our doctors. I've seen that where they'll talk to, if there's a male who's not a physician, they'll talk to the nurse or something else. It's like, that one's the doctor, and it's like, especially if they have a disability, wheelchair bound. Like when I worked at Reading Hospital, this was an experience more than once. And it's like,
Yeah.
that's the physician, ask the doctor. Don't ask me. I don't know what the plan for treatment is. I've seen that more than once. And that's,
You do know, even if you do know.
yeah. Oh,
It,
yes. No. I will defer. Like in those circumstances, I will always defer. Now, if there's a mistake or something that needs to be dealt with, I have no problem challenging either if they've made an error that needs to be confronted. But when it comes to patient respect, just because somebody's in a wheelchair, walker, whatever, no, just like you said, it doesn't matter, older, younger, whatever. Yes. So, yeah, this is another one of my buttons. I have a bunch of them. Just watch out. Like I said, I'm a little bit of an asshole. So yes, and things that I know that are justifiable, I will. And that happens when you have a disability too. You tend to get a little more. So respect. It is about respect. I respect you, but you need to return that. And if you don't, I can get pretty irked. I can control myself, but eventually, over time, I do my best. But if you hit that switch, yeah, and I have a pretty good range, but eventually I hit the,
eventually, everybody does.
but disrespecting other persons with disabilities, my friends, family, anything like that, yeah, and I'm sure you do too. Me, I put up with a lot more crap than I should personally, but family,
Well,
friends,
you were an AMT, right? You were
huh?
AMT, right?
Oh, I was first an EMT paramedic. Then I was studying for my PhD in neuropsychology. I originally did, like I'm trained in biology, chemistry. I mean, it was a pre-med track and education. Thank you very much. I also had a second track in education. So I did dual track and then a minor in psychology, 21 credit hours per semester. Don't ever do super overload. You will make yourself crazy. Anyway, then I went for my PhD down, I went to Drexel for my PhD in neuropsychology and almost done. And then I died in a crash, briefly. And that's the brain injury. And then it took a long time, seizures and every other fun thing. And it took years for me to even try nursing school. And that first try, not so good because I was a little too proud to ask help. Then the second time I passed, and the second time, hey, and I got a perfect score on my boards. Thank you very much. But yeah, I mean, it's like resilience. That is the characteristic of survivors. I know you're a writer, something to be immensely proud of. And it's like, that's the other thing I want to add. You don't know the history. A person is not a wheelchair, a walker. They're not just some random gray hair. A lot of us have a distinguished history and have done a lot. Please, a little bit of respect.
But in the
My,
wheelchair, they're all the same. You can
yeah,
all the same.
yeah, I know. To the young people pushing or people around or in the rehab hospital or whatever. But so many of the people, so many of their patients, and it was amazing when I was working as a PCA. I love to hear people's stories. Like I met a junior A junior metallurgist. He wasn't a physicist, junior metallurgist. I forgot on the Manhattan Project.
Wow.
Yeah, it was amazing. This guy now, he said he didn't meet the biggest of the bigwigs, but he met a bunch of like really like briefly like Leo Szilard and Fermi. Um, that was like, whoa, really? Like these are names of names in physics. And I got to talk to this guy. You want to talk about degrees of separation? So 2, 3 degrees of separation from like, Frisch and Otto von Heim and like these names, Albert Einstein, and like a guy who met guys who incredible. The people in the nursing homes and like in the hospitals, they have incredible stories. If you're willing to listen, stroke patients, all of them, they are people and they have amazing stories and lives. Treat them with dignity and respect.
Nobody is there to listen to you in a wheelchair.
Yeah, I am always happy to hear somebody's totally awesome story. And every host on here has a very interesting story. Now, some are a little more private than others, and I respect that. But everyone's got a very interesting story, some more heartbreaking than others. Every host has a very interesting story. People need to learn to ask. See past the wheelchair. See the person inside.
And speaking of passing the wheelchair, I have another
Yeah.
point. Like,
Sorry, I tend to digress. I apologize.
No, I appreciate that. Ninth one is say I'm not moving fast enough. When we're walking with a cane, some women had 50 steps to go. So I was in the lab. So she said, "Pardon me, you're not moving fast enough. Can I get by you?" And she didn't even wait for my response. She just went by, and I hated that. So I caught up to her in line. I said, "It's rude to say to a person walking with a cane." And she ignored me. Well, that's what you do when you have nothing to say.
Yeah, I mean, I use a cane. I always like stick close to the wall, and I usually am like further back. But
Yeah,
yes,
so right. So right.
and I don't mind as much. I know, but I do want the respect at least to like wait, don't run ahead of me. Um, I know that most people are used to like, like hurry up, but it is like that is disrespectful, especially if you ask, hey, do you mind if you're just gonna run by, just be rude and go for it. Be a jerk and go. But it's like if you're waiting with somebody and it's like we all forget. I get it. And I know I've messed this up many times. It's like even me with a cane, I'm faster than somebody with like a walker or whatever, and God knows I've screwed that up. Um, and it's like, got to tell me. But if you tell me, I'm going to do my best. And like a number of my brain injury friends, it isn't just one or two, it's many of them will go and it's like, excuse me. And they'll usually stop and they're like, sorry. Like, it's like I've had this even with like my friend Lisa, who uses sometimes she'll, it's like the times we're together, she's faster than me. And it's like, excuse me, or like Kate, who's an athlete. She's but she knows to stop and wait. But all of us have brain injury, and you just tell us, and we'll stop. And it's like, but a person who doesn't, no stroke, no brain injury, no nothing, you've really got no excuse. And it's like, yes, of course, habit. But then it would tell you, please, like, just do it if you're going to do it. But it is disrespectful to just run ahead of somebody. You're not better than me. You're not more than me. Come on, seriously. Yeah, I know this sounds like a bitch session, but you know what? These are things that.
These were the things.
But
Before I had my stroke, I did all of them. I did all these things.
I still mess up with some of them, except for the good boy. I would that no way. That no, I would never dream of doing it. But the rest of them, yeah, I messed up sometimes, and for that, and I felt guilty. And that's the other thing. Do you try to make amends? If you have wronged someone, if you have hurt someone, the difference between being a jerk or an asshole and not, or making a mistake, is the apology and the effort to do better. You're not better because
Exactly.
that is the difference to me. That is, well, the narcissist, that is the jerk, that is the, well, like I said, the asshole. Doesn't care. It's about them. You can go stick it. And it doesn't matter what label you put on it. Heck with the diagnosis, heck with any of those things, because they don't deserve the acknowledgement. If you're a jerk, you're a jerk. And the difference between a jerk and not a jerk is an apology and an effort to
Oh
actually do
yeah.
better and change in behavior. If you don't do that, you're simply a jerk, an asshole. And, you deserve the contempt. But respect. Respect for people. It can happen to you. And since Alzheimer's and behavioral variant frontotemporal dementia, all that stuff, tick, 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 the clock is running every day and you
Yes,
don't get to
it
push
is.
the stop. It can
Yes, it
happen to
is.
you. So, no, well, I won't say what goes around comes around because it doesn't always, but you don't know what happens as those sands run down that hourglass, do you? So maybe a little bit of decency back. All right. So enough of that weirdness.
Oh,
All I can say is, although keep it in mind, none of us are immune, and none of us are immune to mortality either. It
and
gets us
that's
all, that hand of death gets us all eventually. Okay. So again, enough of that.
that's what is hanging up in me. I can't tell you how many operators hung up on me because they didn't understand. Once they say, you repeat that, please? I repeat it, and they hang up on me. They hang up on me.
Who hung up on you? I'm
Yes,
sorry. That's not even, like,
yeah. That all has to do with respect. All it has to do with respect. Every one of them, every one of my list has to do with respect.
mhm.
And that is outrageous and unexcusable. Unexcusable.
Yes.
Did anybody ever hang up on you?
Yeah, I've been hung up at not because of my talking, but it's like when I've been kicked around, from trying to get prior auths or at work or whatever else. Um, yeah, they usually get a lot of ire from me when I call back or I ask for so and so because I'll usually take down the name of who. Um, yeah, mm, it's not always been kind of me. I know that, but if I'm trying to get something done for somebody else, again, about me, it's a little less so. I don't mind as much. Yeah, I'll be angry, but I'm not going to lose my shit. But if I'm trying to get something done for somebody else, prior authorization or something else I got, yeah, I'm going to be a little more irritable.
I lost my shit many times.
Hmm.
But before I lost my shit, they hung up on me. And then when I hang up the phone, I lost my shit.
As you
So
should. That
yeah,
is
yeah.
beyond incredibly rude. Ah, yeah,
So
yeah,
all of these things that happen to me, that's why I know they happen. That's why I know they happen to other people.
yeah.
I hope this list get gets some people straight on how you should treat a stroke survivor.
You should treat a stroke survivor, brain injury survivor, survivor of cardiac arrest, anybody with any
Yeah.
disability. You should treat them like a person. You should treat them how you want to be treated. The old golden rule: do unto others as you would have them do unto you. If you think if somebody treated you that way, if you were in that position and you would think they were a jerk and you do the same thing, guess what? You're the jerk. It's that simple. so disappointed. I'm sorry that this stuff happened to you. You know, because honestly, that
But
is
next
that
time
is
I will speak on something else.
that is
That
dismissing your humanity.
speak on something else, and it enables me to passionate remark. That is the only way you can write passion. Passionate, passionate about educating stroke survivors, brain injury survivors, any kind of brain injury survivor.
Mhm. Yes.
And I'm tenacious on doing that. So
Mhm.
I appreciate if you write to me. My email address is Harry, C as in Charlie, writer, WRITER, at gmail.com. Again, H as in Harry, C as in Charlie, writer, WRITER. Write to me, and I'll answer you. So
Okay.
it goes.
So below, or we will put her email address as well as comments below. On YouTube here, you do have the option, and we would send them to her, and she can also check if she'd like. But also, she has her own separate site she runs. So if you wish to do that through to Joyce, you can also send that to her that way. So
Put in a plug for Brain Exchange.
yeah, sure, go ahead.
I run Brain Exchange with Sarah Riggs, and I appreciate your tuning. And for anybody who has stroke, anybody who's brain is disabled, anybody who's brain anything, write to me and I'll tell you the number link. But if you have a pen, write it out now. It's Dear Joyce, Scott Club, forward, join. And that's it.
We'll put it below too.
Okay, thank you.
And would you, again, would you remind folks about this channel, about Detours Understanding Acquired Brain Injury on YouTube,
Yes.
and encourage them to like and subscribe because it helps more and more people, even those not in our group. I'm also a member, by the way, to see and understand about all kinds of brain injuries and see
Thank
all
you.
over different hosts. All right, again, we will put that
Oh,
below.
no. I understand because I'm the same way.
Okay, so please, we again will put her email address, but we will also put the group below for stroke and other brain injury survivors for Sarah and Joyce, and for her email address. And please like, subscribe, any comments or questions you have for Joyce below. They also will be sent to her for her to respond through here if you're a member here. And please like, subscribe, click that bell icon, and we have other videos on other topics and the neurobiology of stroke and aneurysms. So please hope to see you again, and we'll be talking to Joyce soon
Thank you.
with
Thank
another
you.
video. And we'll say bye, and remember to respect people with any of the brain issues. We're human like everybody else, and we might have some cool stories too. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.